Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney, and in today's video, we're talking about 7 of my proudest makes, makes that were kind of game changers for me in my sewing journey, maybe things that pushed me outside my comfort zone, but definitely 7 different things that when I look back, when I wear, or when I look back at pictures, I'm like, yes, I'm super proud of that project. Now, this all came about because I was switching my closet from summer into fall. We were finally hitting fall weather around here. Like, I actually need some of my cooler weather items, finally. And while I was going through my guest room closet, which is where my off-season things live, I was kind of going through a little bit and weeding things out. Things that I'm like, okay, this is, I'm never going to wear this again. Or, it's outdated, or I'm not going to fit into it again, whatever, certain criteria, some things that just need to move on to other people in my life, all that kind of stuff. So I kind of do a little bit of a purge when I'm doing that closet overhaul. But it's also a great time to take a look at some things. You're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that set or that suit or that whatever, fill in the blank. So anyway, as I was doing that, I was like, this is a really good way to reflect on past journey of sewing, and also to talk about, no matter where you are in your sewing journey, if you are brand new to sewing, if you're someone that's been sewing for a while, but maybe you're ready to take it up to the next level, or if you're someone that's been sewing for a long, long time and you've made pretty much everything in your wardrobe, or at least one, something of everything, and one of each of the types of things that are in your wardrobe. No matter where you are, there is still time to reflect on what you have done, and also ways that you can push yourself right back outside of that comfort zone. So that's what we're going to go through today. As a reminder, if you are someone that is new to sewing, you are wanting to begin sewing, we've got online classes for that. And our Introduction to Garment Sewing class is fantastic. You're someone, you know how to thread your machine, you can sew a straight line, but you're new to garment sewing, fantastic first place to go to. And we are going to be raising the prices of our digital classes January 1st, because like everything else right now, our prices have increased. So where we host things, all that kind of stuff on our end has also increased. So we will be raising those prices at the beginning of January, just a little bit. But if this is something that you had your eye on for a while, now is a great time to grab that before prices do go up January 1st. Okay. And I will leave a link to that class down below. Or you can just go to tomcatstitchery.com/shop, and all of our classes are listed there. Okay, let's talk about 7 game changer / transformational pieces that I've made, or patterns that I have made, why they are that way, why they're one of my most proud makes, what makes them that way. Okay, garment number 1. Now, this is a button-up shirt. This is a McCall's, no, I don't think so. I think this is that Vogue pattern. It is. Okay, never mind. When I first started doing button-up shirts, and I'll talk a little bit more about it, there was a McCall's pattern that I really loved that is now completely out of print, and I can never remember the number of it. It's like 6847, or I don't know. I can never remember the number of it. But no, this one is actually the Vogue. Oh, it's still in print. I can't remember the number. I'll pop the picture of the pattern up here because it is one that is still in print. When I was first garment sewing and working with my mentor Joyce, and I've talked about this before on the channel, my big aha moment for how transformational sewing can be on your body image, on just the clothes you choose to wear, and the colors you choose to wear, and the proportions and the styles that you want to wear. That big aha moment for me was the moment I learned how to do a full bust adjustment on a button-up shirt, because a button-up shirt was something that I always wanted to wear. It really fit my style aesthetic, but it was never anything that I could ever find and ready to wear, because I have a very large bust. So in order for things to fit me in the shoulders, it would wouldn't button in the front, and then for it to button in the front, it'd be like hanging half off my shoulders. Just ready to wear button-up shirts. I still can't wear ready to wear button-up shirts. But the big aha moment for me, and it wasn't with this shirt in particular, it was actually a black and white buffalo plaid that I made, and it has not stood the test of time because the buttons cracked on it, and I just haven't replaced buttons. It was not the best fabric, fill in the blank for all the things. I still have it. It's upstairs in my closet, but it is not wearable anymore. Anyway, but that was like my first aha moment, which is also why Shirt Making 101 was the first project-based class that I wanted to put out, because it was such a pivotal moment for me in my own sewing journey. So once I learned how to do a full bust adjustment and or use patterns that already have them in there, I was off to the races with making button-up shirts. I would still say that button-up shirts are still one of my very favorite things to make. I just find them very therapeutic, very just calming. I love making a good button-up shirt. But what is special about this one, and if you guys are, the eagle-eyed among you may recognize that this is a Liberty of London fabric. So this is a Liberty Tonalon, and this is a very expensive fabric because Liberty Tonalon is expensive fabric, but it is so beautiful. This was the first time that I allowed myself, not only with a button-up shirt, because I had now perfected the pattern, that I really liked the way it fit me, I loved wearing them, that I actually stepped outside of my comfort zone and cut into some very expensive fabric. I feel like at the time this was running like $35 a yard. Now it's like $44, $45 a yard for Liberty Tonalon. But this has been many years ago that I made this, although you can still buy this print of fabric. Now, is this shirt perfect? No. In fact, I'm looking at I've got some gathering in the sleeve cap here where it's not supposed to be, but I love this thing. And I think it might fit me again. I need to try it on again because this isn't my color palette. I'll need to try this on again. This may fit me again since I've lost some weight. But anyway, the reason that this makes the mark is because it was the first time I used expensive fabric to make something that has stood the test of time. And let's see. Yeah, I serged some of my seams. So this must have been shortly after I got my serger, probably for the first time. The things that this taught me was just taking a time to slow down. This would have been really nice had I put French seams in there. I didn't though, but that's okay. But also trusting in my skills enough to use the expensive fabric. And it's still in my closet. Now, this has not fit me for a few years now, just way too tight across the bust because my weight fluctuates intensely. I've got autoimmune issues, so whether or not I am in an inflammatory state and retaining water or not, and that kind of depends on my medicines and fill in the blank. The stage of the moon. I don't even know most of the time. But I do think I've got things figured out at the moment. So my weight is down, but this may actually fit me again. But it stays in my closet because it is such a beautiful fabric that will last forever. And it's a style that I want to wear forever. All right, so that is pattern number 1. Pattern number 2, I am wearing. This is the Closet Core Patterns Jasika blazer. Now, I have made 3 of these. I have made this one, which surprisingly, this is a very loud blazer. This is the only one I've made for myself. Very loud blazer, but I wear this thing a ton, and it fits me again at the moment. I also, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I made this as a suit, so I've got matching pants. But I just love this. And it's also in my color palette, although I made this before color palette. This was a dupe that I was recreating a ready-to-wear designer look. So this is the Jasika blazer. And again, I've made it 3 times. This is my daughter's version. And this actually, I don't think this fits her anymore. So we're going to have to find a good home for this to go to. But I should have her try it on, though, just to be sure. Anyway, things that and then I made, the 3rd time I made it was for my mom. I made her she was looking for a black classic blazer that fit her perfectly. I made her that. She was so very, very proud of that blazer. And we actually had her cremated in that blazer. So I do not have that blazer any longer. But I've made this 3 times. And things that this has taught me. Number 1, I love tailoring. This is a big project and it takes forever. You spend more time cutting out pieces and then the fabric out because there are a million pieces that go with this blazer. But cutting out all the interfacings and the linings and the different types of interfacings, and then the outside. By the time you actually get to the construction of this coat, it actually goes together really quickly, this jacket. But it's got beautiful finishings in it. So this taught me a lot about tailoring. So putting in, there's sleeve heads in this, there's a shoulder pad in this, the different interfacings that go to build out the front of a jacket, which is different than on a women's jacket than it is on a men's, because we've got a boob. Welt pockets. Let's see, what did I do on hers? I just did the standard double welt pocket on hers, but I did the welt with the flap on mine. I think I did the flap on my mom's too. And then I did the little pocket up here on mine as well. I don't think I did that on hers. No, I didn't. She didn't want that version. But this is just such a beautiful project. I am so proud of it because everyone's always like, oh my gosh, you made that every single time. This I love because it is a statement piece. I get comments on it every single time I wear it because this is a conversation starter. My daughter loved this because it is just a timeless piece for her wardrobe. Again, I don't think it fits her right now. And I made this for her when she was like 15, so it might never fit her again because our bodies change from the time we're 15 till we grow up. So this may be one, I don't know, maybe she wants to hang on to it for her own child at some point. Or maybe we pass it along to another friend or something. I don't know. It'll stay. I'm not getting rid of this. But just a really great project to stretch my skills, to create something that is truly a statement piece or a conversation starter, or something that for instance, with my mom, it was a black wool blazer that she just wanted in her wardrobe. She wore it a ton. So proud of it. So another really, really great, proud sewing moment. And I'd also like to say, even if you're a beginner, don't let this intimidate you. Just break the steps up. Start with step one. They even have a Closet Quarries even has a class that you can buy too. They'll hold your hand through the sewing of this. I did not take the class. I just sewed it by the instructions. They were phenomenal, and it worked out really, really great. But actually, my very first garment, I shouldn't say my first garment. I had made Halloween costumes for my kids at this point, but my first real garment that I made was in a class where I met my mentor Joyce, and I decided to do a Claire Schaefer Vogue blazer pattern. I still have it. It's awful, but it's so funny. I love having it as a reminder. But I had my mentor Joyce, that's where we met, and she held my hand through all of those. So it is a finished blazer. Now it does not fit me great. And there's a lot of my bound buttonholes are not fantastic, but it was all a learning experience. So I'm absolutely keeping that, and forever probably. And it's something that's great to look back on and to see how far you've come. So don't worry about being outside of your comfort zone, because you can still do some really great things. I should have buttoned this up. All right. This next one, this is the Liberty Patterns Thea blouse, I believe is what it is called, that I hacked. And the reason that this is one that, I'm going to button it up while I'm talking. Jenny's not here right now as I'm filming this, and she would have scolded me for not having this buttoned up properly before starting to film, but we'll keep this to ourselves, right? So this blouse was a ready-to-wear dupe that I made. So when I was in New York City with Jenny and her daughter and my daughter for fall break when they were juniors in high school, so this would have been 2 years ago now, and we were in a shop, And Other Stories, if you're familiar, there in New York, and my daughter saw this blouse that she just loved. And she is also very busty. She also cannot buy ready-to-wear tops that are button up. Just doesn't work. So we were looking at it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we had not done the fabric district yet at this point. I was like, I took a whole bunch of pictures of it, and I said, when we go to the fabric district, whenever, I said, we'll look for fabric similar to this, and I will just hack a pattern and remake this for you. And so that's what we did. We went to Mood, and we found this gorgeous silk crepe. It's just beautiful in her color palette. And I hacked the Liberty Patterns Thea blouse, which is, I think it was a retired Vogue pattern. There was actually a lot of scuttlebutt about it because they had just kind of reprinted a Vogue pattern with Liberty's name on it. It's a lovely pattern though, and the Vogue pattern is no longer in print. So anyway. And then I did all the drafting, the hacking to make this like pleated sleeve that kind of flares out here at the top, and then the longer bell sleeve here at the bottom. And then I did pin tucks instead of gathers, but I added in extra space to do some pin tucks here on the front. And then I used the bow collar option because that's what the actual inspiration shirt had. I did this completely with French seams, is what I'm trying to say. With French seams. Very, very happy with how the whole of this finished blouse. Now, unfortunately, this no longer fits her. Not to worry, though. This is actually going to one of my dear friends that is a very small friend of mine that I think that this is going to fit her. And she's also the same color palette as Ava. And when she sews, it's actually my social media manager, Marissa. But when I made this, she was like, oh my gosh, that fabric is amazing, but couldn't find it on Mood's website. Apparently Mood, the store for Mood and Mood's website are two different things, different warehouses, everything owned by the same company, but it's not the same stock and you can't like cross it or whatever. Anyway, but we couldn't find this anywhere. So this is going to Marissa. She has been loving this blouse ever since I made it for my daughter. But this kind of taught me, or I guess was a reminder. I've been doing some hacking, but taking a look at something ready to wear and then just diving in. Pattern drafting is not hard, especially, I mean, I wouldn't even call this drafting. This was just hacking a pattern in order to give it the space so that I could make the pleats and the release pleats and the sleeves. And so I could do the pin tucks in the front. So anyway, I'm very proud of this. It absolutely fit her vision of what she wanted. She wore this with pride, which makes me very happy as a mom. And I used an expensive fabric with it. So all sorts of big things on this. All right, number 3. Now, I was looking for my original pair of jeans that I made, and I can't find them, and I really hope I didn't get rid of them, but I may have. So my original pair of jeans that I ever made was the Closet Core Patterns Ginger Jeans, which I feel like is most people's like original jean, because it was like the only independent jean pattern out when it came out. And that was the very first one that I made. Now, these are my most recent pair of jeans that I've made. These are the Love Notions Legato, and I hacked the leg to have the leg of the Largo Cargo. But this is the Legato. It's the Legato. I just widened the leg because I wanted a wider leg jean pattern. Jeans make me so proud because every single time I will say, oh, I made those jeans. Everyone is always like floored. You can make jeans and they're not hard. They really aren't. I know that they can be intimidating because people think like, oh my gosh, you can make your own jeans. Really not hard. Now there's a couple of like tips and tricks for obviously getting them to fit properly is a big one, you know, making a muslin, you know, so you can figure out your fit before you dive into it. But once you have your fit figured out, sewing a pair of jeans is actually pretty straightforward. And I find it, again, so therapeutic, like making a button-up shirt. I love making jeans or anything with like those jean type details. Now, I buy a lot of my jeans only because I'm looking for like a certain wash, and it's really hard to get this look of a wash unless you make a pair of jeans, wear them nonstop for 3 years, and then they look like this. So I do buy ready-to-wear jeans. My lower half of my body is not the hardest part of me to fit. It's from here up that is really hard for me to fit, which is where sewing really comes in handy. But I do love making a good pair of jeans, and I can get an almost, I mean, perfection doesn't exist, but an almost perfect fit when I make myself jeans. And again, it's just a really satisfying thing to look at and to have people be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you made that. But on top of that, I mean, these are going to last in your wardrobe forever. You can play around with different leg styles, but finding a really good pattern that fits you really well, that you're really happy with, yes, get that in jeans, and then you can play around with all the different leg styles that, whether it goes back to skinny or a straight leg or a wide leg or the barrel leg is in right now. And there's a few of those patterns that are out. Anyway, definitely one to to add to your list if this is not something that you ever sewn. You will feel so accomplished. A hammer or a mallet goes a long way when making jeans. You just want to hammer the living daylights out of those seams to make them flatter, and then your machines will go over those much easier. That's my biggest tip with jean making, is a mallet and or hammer. All right, next we have a couple of jackets. I love making jackets. I've made everything. I've made tailored coats, and I have quite a few in my wardrobe that I love wearing, which is very similar to making a blazer. Once you've got those skills down, you can absolutely do a tailored coat. In fact, a lot of tailored coats, you don't even have all the structure that you've got in a blazer because they aren't as tight fitting. But this one is probably it's definitely one of my most worn makes, period, in my closet. This is the Closet Core Patterns Kelly Anorak. And this is not, they now have a lining that comes with that pattern. That is not what I used here. I interlined it. So, or did I? Did I use maybe I did use the lining. I did. Scratch that. This pattern does have a lining expansion. Maybe it's all included in the pattern now. That is what I used for this. But for the inside, for the body, this is actually a Liberty that I bought a remnant off of, someone was selling part of their stash off, and I bought this. I did the body in the Liberty cotton lawn, but I did the sleeves in a Bimber rayon, so they're slippery, so it goes on and off my body really easily, because I wear this is my winter coat, so I wear this over sweaters and everything else. But the thing that I learned about this, number one, that I could make outerwear that actually was functional. So this wasn't just something that was pretty, cute, trendy. This is actually a functional coat, and it is super warm. So I quilted all of my lining to a layer of Thinsulate, which is it's kind of hard to find now. I think Vogue Fabrics in New York or in Chicago has it, or they used to, and it's kind of pricey. But if you can find Thinsulate, and it's almost like a batting, but it is what's used in a lot of ready-to-wear coats to make them nice and warm. But I quilted all of the lining fabric to the Thinsulate, so it is a very warm coat. And again, I live in Indiana, and it gets cold. And it has never been too cold. I mean, maybe I don't stay outside as long. And it's in a cotton twill, so it does get wet. So I'm not out there playing in the snow in this, but for getting me from where I need to go, from in the house into the stores and into the car, all that kind of stuff, this is absolutely my go-to winter coat. It keeps me nice and warm. So very proud of this. Very proud in figuring out the quilting of the lining to the Thinsulate in order to make a really warm coat. And it stood the test of time. Like, I have worn this, again, like every winter since I've made it. And it's like my go-to coat, All right, number 6. This is a McCall's pattern that may or may not be in print any longer. I will pop a picture up here, though. Anyway, I actually have a sew along for this. This is one of my proudest makes, because this is one of the first time. This is my first leather jacket that I made for myself. And I am very proud of this. Again, I get comments all the time when I wear it. When people are like, oh my God, you made that? And I'm like, I did. But the other thing that makes me really proud of this, and something that I learned, is that this was a very large men's leather jacket that I thrifted at the thrift store for $7 maybe. But it had a lot of, it had a burn mark that was on it. So, I didn't feel bad about grabbing it, cutting it up for pieces, and I made this little crop jacket. Now, this pattern does not come lined, but I did add my own lining in it because it's leather and I wanted it lined. But it's kind of like a jean jacket style that, I just added a slippery lining. And I think this is even like a kashi lining. So it's the flannel back satin, which works great for coat lining because it adds a little bit of extra warmth. But I love this thing. My daughter has borrowed this and worn it. It's just a really good cropped length. We've got snaps here in the front. Again, I use that pattern. I've got added seam lines, and I reused the pockets on the original coat. So that's all part of the original pocket of the original coat. But I did have to use some of the seam lines from the original coat because leather sometimes comes in like panels and gets cut up, interestingly. But, so yeah. So I have like seams that don't match up here at the side seam just because that's how I had to cut out the thrifted. But yeah, I felt very proud of this because I used upcycled leather that would have just gone into the, I mean, is anyone going to buy a leather jacket that's got a hole in it? Probably not. That's really hard something to fix, but you can use it for parts and make yourself your own leather jacket. And it was a really nice leather and it feels really, really good. And yes, I'm very, very proud of this make and I wear it quite frequently. Like now, this is one of the things I was pulling out to have in my wardrobe. All right, and then finally, my daughter's prom dress. This is the Charm Patterns. Oh, it's not hooked. The Charm Patterns. I'm also trying not to touch it too much. This thing is glittery, and I don't know how, with all the glitter it drops, how there's any glitter left on this dress, but there is. Anyway, this is my most recent of all of these makes. I made this back in April, May-ish for my daughter's senior prom. This is the Charm Patterns Hollywood dress, and I used a crepe back satin from Kiki Textiles, and then this glitter overlay. So I interlined basically I interlined the glitter overlay with the crepe back satin. And yes, there's many things. Number one, I don't do a lot of evening wear. I used to work in a bridal workroom where I was working on bridal and doing, hemming gowns and doing bustles and all that kind of stuff and cutting things off so that they could then be hand sewed back on and all that kind of jazz. But I don't do a lot of that type of sewing in my everyday world anymore. Like hardly at all. So this was a great reminder of a few things. Number one, I know some people that would love to make evening wear over anything else. That is not me. This is evening wear. Formal wear is not my passion. Now I will make it. If my daughter asked me to make her wedding dress, I absolutely would do that. But this is not my passion. So that's one thing that I learned. But number two, being able to create something out of my daughter's head and to create a prom dress that she felt comfortable in, that she felt beautiful in, that ticked all of her boxes was priceless. So another testament to fit is king. Fit is absolutely king. Learning how to fit not only your body, but anyone else that you sew for, such as my daughter, and just the gift in that is not only being able to sew and create things for her, but also the gift of being able to give her exactly what she has in her mind that fits her body so that she can love the body that she has, because it's not us, it's the clothes, right? It's the ready to wear clothes. It is never our bodies. So this one has a profound meanings, but I would say this is probably one of my biggest learning projects as well as proudest makes. So there you have it, my 7 game changer garments that I have made. Now, not necessarily the pattern made a huge deal, although I will have those patterns listed, but it was more the project in and of itself. So maybe give some of these a try. Some other things that I kind of thought about adding, I've made my own swimwear, I've made my own bras, I've made my own underwear, I make all of my own workout wear. All of that is also things that I am proud of. But honestly, once I got into making those things, they're not hard. Bras can be difficult. Not difficult, they're just fiddly. But as far as like workout gears, sports bras, all the workout gear, swimwear, none of that is hard. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna put that stuff on there. Sweatshirts, that kind of thing. And you'll notice that these are all wovens. I don't have any knits up here because I also find knits to be pretty easy to do. Don't be scared of them. They are not hard. I have a class for that as well, Knit Sewing Essentials. But yes, I hope that no matter where you are in your current sewing journey, that you will think about some of the things. Number one, the things that you have done that you're super proud of, or maybe some reach goals that would be good for you to try as we end 2025 and then going into the next year. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. Leave me a comment. What is one of your most proud makes that you've ever made? I would love to hear what those are. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful week. Get some sewing in. And until next time, happy sewing. Bye.